Did you know that what you eat can actually help you feel younger, more energetic, and even reduce aches and pains as you age? It's true, food isn't just fuel for your body, it's medicine for your cells. And when it comes to staying healthy and vibrant after 60, one of the most powerful tools at your disposal is anti-inflammatory foods. These are the kinds of foods that fight inflammation in your body, a sneaky culprit behind so many age-related issues like joint pain, fatigue, and even chronic diseases. Today, we're going to talk about the best anti-inflammatory foods for seniors over 60 and how incorporating them into your diet can make a real difference in how you feel every single day. Whether you're dealing with stiffness in your joints, low energy levels, or simply want to take proactive steps toward better health, these foods can be game changers. In this video, I'll share some of my favorite anti-inflammatory foods, ones that are easy to find, delicious to eat, and packed with nutrients your body craves. Let's start by diving into the first food on our list, fatty fish rich in omega-3. If you've ever heard about the benefits of eating salmon, mackerel, or sardines, chances are it was because of their high omega-3 fatty acid content. Omega-3 are essential fats that your body can't produce on its own, but they play a huge role in reducing inflammation. They work by balancing out other types of fats in your body that can trigger inflammatory responses, essentially calming down areas where inflammation might be causing trouble. For seniors, this means less joint pain, improved heart health, and even sharper cognitive function. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I'm not sure I love fish. Don't worry, you don't have to suddenly become a seafood fanatic overnight. Start small. Swap out red meat once or twice a week for grilled salmon or baked cod. If fresh fish isn't always available, canned options like tuna or sardines are just as nutritious and often more budget-friendly. You can mix sardines into salads, mash them up with avocado for a creamy spread, or add chunks of tuna to pasta dishes. The key is finding ways to incorporate these nutrient powerhouses into meals you already enjoy. Let me share a quick story that shows just how impactful fatty fish can be. A woman named Margaret, who was 72, had been struggling with achy knees for years. She assumed it was just part of getting older, but her doctor suggested trying to increase her intake of omega-3 rich foods. At first, she was skeptical. How could something as simple as eating fish really make a difference? But within weeks of adding salmon to her dinner rotation twice a week, Margaret noticed her knee pain wasn't as bad. Over time, she started experimenting with recipes, like making salmon patties or tossing canned tuna into veggie-packed wraps. Not only did her knees feel better, but she also found herself feeling more energized throughout the day. Sometimes, the smallest changes can lead to the biggest results. Now that we've talked about fatty fish, let's move on to another superstar in the world of anti-inflammatory foods: berries. Berries like blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries aren't just sweet treats, they're nutritional powerhouses loaded with antioxidants called flavonoids. These compounds help neutralize free radicals in your body, which are unstable molecules that contribute to inflammation and cellular damage. Think of antioxidants as tiny shields protecting your cells from harm. One of the reasons berries are such a great choice for seniors is their versatility. You can toss a handful into your morning oatmeal, blend them into smoothies, or enjoy them as a snack with a dollop of Greek yogurt. They're also incredibly easy to store. Fresh berries freeze beautifully, so you can stock up during sales and use them whenever you need. Plus, frozen berries retain all their nutritional benefits, so you never have to worry about waste. Here's a tip: if fresh berries aren't in season or fit your budget, frozen ones are an excellent alternative. In fact, studies show that frozen berries often contain higher levels of certain nutrients, because they're flash frozen shortly after harvesting. So go ahead and grab a bag of frozen blueberries next time you're at the grocery store. Blend them into a smoothie with spinach, banana, and almond milk for a refreshing drink that tastes indulgent, but is secretly doing wonders for your body. To bring this point home, let me tell you about a man named Harold who was 75. Harold loved gardening and spent hours tending to his backyard plants, but lately he'd been feeling sluggish and sore. His granddaughter suggested swapping his usual afternoon cookies for a bowl of mixed berries instead. Skeptical but willing to try anything, Harold made the switch. Within a few weeks, he noticed he had more energy to tackle his gardening projects without feeling wiped out afterward. He even started experimenting with growing his own strawberries and raspberries, which became a fun new hobby. By making this simple swap, Harold rediscovered his zest for life and proved to himself that small dietary tweaks can yield big rewards. Now that we've covered fatty fish and berries, let's talk about another incredible anti-inflammatory food: nuts and seeds. Almonds, walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds, and sunflower seeds are all fantastic sources of healthy fats, fiber, and antioxidants. Like omega-3s in fish, the fats found in nuts and seeds help combat inflammation while supporting heart health and brain function. Plus, they're incredibly satisfying, making them perfect for snacking or adding texture to meals. One of my favorite ways to include nuts and seeds in your diet is by sprinkling them onto salads, oatmeal, or yogurt. Chia seeds, for example, can be soaked in water or almond milk overnight to create a pudding-like consistency that's both filling and nutritious. Walnuts are delicious chopped up and added to roasted vegetables or blended into pesto sauce. Even peanut butter counts as long as it's natural and doesn't contain added sugars or hydrogenated oils. A word of caution here: while nuts and seeds are incredibly healthy, they're also calorie-dense, so portion control matters. A good rule of thumb is to stick to a small handful, about a quarter cup per serving. This ensures you're getting the benefits without overdoing it. Let me leave you with one final example before we transition to the next part. A woman named Evelyn, who was 68, struggled with mid-afternoon energy slumps. Instead of reaching for chips or crackers, she decided to keep a jar of mixed nuts on her counter. Every afternoon, she'd grab a small handful and pair it with a piece of fruit. Not only did her energy levels stabilize, but she also found herself craving fewer sugary snacks later in the evening. Nuts became her secret weapon for staying fueled and focused throughout the day. Now that we've explored fatty fish, berries, and nuts and seeds, let's move on to another category of anti-inflammatory foods that deserve a spot in your pantry: leafy greens. Stay tuned, because this next group of foods will show you how easy it is to pack a punch of nutrients into every meal, and why greens truly are the unsung heroes of anti-inflammatory diets. Now that we've covered fatty fish, berries, and nuts and seeds, let's dive into the next anti-inflammatory powerhouse: leafy greens. If you've ever walked past the produce section and wondered whether kale or spinach is worth the hype, here's your answer: they absolutely are. Leafy greens like spinach, kale, Swiss chard, and collard greens are packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that work together to reduce inflammation and support overall health. One of the standout nutrients in leafy greens is vitamin K, which plays a crucial role in regulating inflammation. Studies have shown that people who consume higher amounts of vitamin K tend to have lower levels of inflammatory markers in their blood. But that's not all. These greens are also rich in folate, magnesium, and carotenoids like lutein and beta-carotene, all of which contribute to cellular repair and protection. Think of leafy greens as nature's multivitamin. They're incredibly nutrient-dense and versatile, enough to fit into almost any meal. If you're wondering how to incorporate more leafy greens into your diet, don't worry, it's easier than you might think. Start by adding a handful of spinach or arugula to your morning omelette or smoothie. You can sauté Swiss chard with garlic and olive oil for a quick side dish, or toss mixed greens into salads with colorful veggies and lean protein. Even frozen spinach works wonders. Stir it into soups, stews, or casseroles for an instant nutrient boost. The key is to experiment and find combinations that you genuinely enjoy eating. Let me share a story about the transformative power of leafy greens. A man named Robert, who was 71, had always been skeptical of health foods like kale and spinach. He assumed they were too bitter or complicated to prepare, so he stuck to his usual rotation of potatoes and canned vegetables. But after experiencing persistent fatigue and stiffness, he decided to give leafy greens a try. His daughter suggested blending spinach into his morning smoothies, something so subtle he wouldn't even notice it. To his surprise, he loved the taste and started feeling more energized within weeks. Encouraged by this change, Robert began experimenting with other ways to include greens in his meals, like making kale chips or tossing chopped collards into soups. These small adjustments didn't just improve his energy levels, they reignited his passion for cooking and exploring new recipes. Now that we've explored the benefits of leafy greens, let's move on to another category of anti-inflammatory foods: whole grains. Whole grains like oats, quinoa, brown rice, and barley are often overlooked when it comes to fighting inflammation, but they play a vital role in maintaining stable blood sugar levels and supporting gut health. Unlike refined grains, which spike your blood sugar and promote inflammation, whole grains provide a steady release of energy while delivering fiber and essential nutrients your body needs to function optimally. Fiber is particularly important because it feeds the beneficial bacteria in your gut, creating a healthy microbiome that reduces systemic inflammation. This connection between gut health and inflammation is becoming increasingly clear in scientific research, showing that taking care of your digestive system has far-reaching effects on your overall well-being. Whole grains also contain B vitamins, magnesium, and antioxidants, all of which help combat oxidative stress and keep your cells functioning smoothly. Incorporating whole grains into your diet doesn't require drastic changes. Swap white bread for whole grain versions, choose steel-cut oats instead of sugary cereals, or serve quinoa as a base for salads and stir-fries. Barley makes a hearty addition to soups and stews, while brown rice pairs perfectly with roasted vegetables and lean proteins. The possibilities are endless, and the best part is that these swaps are just as satisfying as their refined counterparts, if not more so. To illustrate the impact of whole grains, consider the story of Margaret, who was 69. Margaret had always relied on white bread and pasta as staples in her diet, but she noticed that these foods left her feeling bloated and sluggish. Her doctor recommended trying whole grains to see if they made a difference. Skeptical but curious, Margaret started substituting brown rice for white rice and swapping out her usual sandwich bread for whole grain options. Within days, she noticed a significant improvement. Not only did her digestion feel smoother, but she also had more sustained energy throughout the day. Over time, whole grains became a non-negotiable part of her meals, proving that small dietary shifts can lead to big improvements in how you feel. With whole grains now firmly on your radar, let's transition to another group of anti-inflammatory superstars: spices and herbs. Spices like turmeric, ginger, cinnamon, and garlic aren't just flavor enhancers, they're potent anti-inflammatory agents that have been used for centuries in traditional medicine. Adding these ingredients to your meals is an easy and delicious way to dial down inflammation without having to overhaul your entire diet. Turmeric, in particular, deserves special attention. Its active compound, curcumin, has been extensively studied for its ability to reduce inflammation and protect against chronic diseases. However, curcumin isn't easily absorbed by the body unless paired with black pepper, which enhances its bioavailability. That's why sprinkling turmeric into dishes along with a pinch of pepper can maximize its benefits. Try stirring it into scrambled eggs, soups, or roasted vegetables for a golden touch of wellness. Ginger is another spice worth embracing. Known for its soothing properties, ginger helps calm inflammation in the digestive tract and joints. It's fantastic grated into tea, blended into smoothies, or minced and added to stir-fries and marinades. Cinnamon, meanwhile, stabilizes blood sugar levels and adds warmth to both sweet and savory dishes. Sprinkle it onto oatmeal, yogurt, or roasted squash for a cozy, anti-inflammatory kick. Garlic rounds out this list with its antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory properties. Whether you mince it into salad dressings, roast it until caramelized, or sauté it as a base for sauces, garlic brings depth and healing potential to every bite. Let me share one last example to drive home the power of spices. A woman named Evelyn, who was 74, struggled with occasional joint pain and indigestion. Her granddaughter introduced her to the idea of using turmeric and ginger in her cooking. At first, Evelyn was hesitant. She wasn't sure how these unfamiliar flavors would taste, but she decided to give it a shot. She started adding turmeric to her morning scrambled eggs and sipping ginger tea before bed. Not only did her joint pain ease up, but her digestion improved dramatically. Spices became her secret weapon for staying comfortable and vibrant, reminding her that sometimes the smallest additions can make the biggest difference. Now that we've covered leafy greens, whole grains, and spices, let's move on to our final category of anti-inflammatory foods, healthy fats. Stay tuned, because this next group will show you how to nourish your brain, heart, and joints with the right kind of fats, and why quality matters more than quantity. Now that we've explored leafy greens, whole grains, and spices, let's talk about the final category of anti-inflammatory foods, healthy fats. These are the unsung heroes of your diet, the ones that keep your brain sharp, your heart strong, and your joints supple. Healthy fats aren't just about avoiding bad fats. They're about embracing the right kinds of fats that nourish your body and fight inflammation at the same time. Think of them as the lubricant that keeps everything running smoothly, from your cells to your mood. One of the best sources of healthy fats is extra virgin olive oil, often referred to as liquid gold for its incredible health benefits. Rich in monounsaturated fats and antioxidants like oleocanthal, olive oil has been shown to reduce inflammatory markers and protect against chronic diseases like heart disease and arthritis. It's also incredibly versatile. You can drizzle it over salads, use it as a base for sautéing vegetables, or even mix it into smoothies for a creamy texture. Just be sure to choose high-quality, cold-pressed varieties to get the most nutritional bang for your buck. Another excellent source of healthy fats is avocados. Creamy, delicious, and packed with nutrients, avocados are loaded with monounsaturated fats, fiber, and potassium, all of which support heart health and reduce inflammation. Plus, they're ridiculously easy to incorporate into your meals. Mash one up with lemon juice and salt for a quick guacamole, slice it onto toast with a sprinkle of chili flakes, or blend it into smoothies for a rich, satisfying drink. Avocados are proof that healthy eating doesn't have to be boring, it can be downright indulgent. Let me share a story that highlights the power of healthy fats. A man named James, who was 76, had always avoided fats because he thought they were bad for his cholesterol. But after struggling with dry skin, brittle nails, and sluggish energy levels, his doctor explained that not all fats are created equal, and some are actually essential for optimal health. Curious, James decided to start using olive oil in his cooking and adding avocado to his breakfasts. Within weeks, he noticed improvements in his skin's hydration, his digestion became more regular, and he felt less fatigued throughout the day. Healthy fats became a cornerstone of his diet, proving that sometimes the foods we avoid are exactly what our bodies need most. Speaking of fats, let's not forget about nuts, seeds, and their oils, which we touched on earlier but deserve another mention here. Almonds, walnuts, flax seeds, chia seeds, and their corresponding oils are rich in omega-3 fatty acids and other anti-inflammatory compounds. For example, flaxseed oil is particularly high in alpha-linolenic acid ALA, a plant-based omega-3 that supports brain function and reduces inflammation. You can add ground flax seeds to oatmeal, yogurt, or smoothies, or drizzle flaxseed oil over roasted vegetables for an extra layer of flavor and nutrition. Walnut oil is another hidden gem. With its rich, nutty taste, it's perfect for salad dressings or finishing touches on cooked dishes. And don't overlook hemp seeds, they're a complete protein source and contain gamma-linolenic acid GLA, a type of omega-6 fat that has powerful anti-inflammatory effects. Sprinkle them onto salads, soups, or even desserts for a subtle crunch and a boost of nutrients. To bring this point home, consider the experience of a woman named Ruth, who was 73. Ruth had always loved baking, but worried about the impact of butter and processed oils on her health. She decided to experiment with healthier alternatives, swapping out vegetable oil for avocado oil and adding ground flax seeds to her muffins and pancakes. Not only did her baked goods turn out moist and flavorful, but she also started feeling lighter and less bloated after meals. By making these simple substitutions, Ruth discovered that healthy fats could be both delicious and nutritious, a win-win for her body and her taste buds. Now that we've covered all 5 categories of anti-inflammatory foods: fatty fish, berries, nuts and seeds, leafy greens, whole grains, spices, and healthy fats, it's time to tie everything together. These foods aren't magic pills. They're tools you can use to take control of your health and feel younger, stronger, and more vibrant every day. The beauty of this approach lies in its simplicity. You don't need fancy equipment, expensive supplements, or drastic lifestyle changes to reap the benefits. All it takes is a willingness to make small, intentional choices that add up over time. Imagine waking up each morning knowing that every bite you take is working to protect your body from the inside out. Picture yourself enjoying a breakfast of oatmeal topped with fresh berries and a sprinkle of chia seeds, followed by a lunch of grilled salmon with steamed broccoli and quinoa. For dinner, maybe you whip up a stir-fry with turmeric-spiced chicken, garlic, and leafy greens, drizzled with a touch of olive oil. These meals aren't just tasty, they're medicine for your cells, designed to reduce inflammation and keep you feeling your best. And remember, consistency is key. It's not about being perfect, it's about progress. Start by incorporating 1 or 2 of these foods into your daily routine, then gradually expand your repertoire as you discover what works for you. Keep experimenting, keep tasting, and most importantly, keep enjoying the process. Food should never feel restrictive, it should be a source of joy, creativity, and connection. Let me leave you with one final thought. A man named Harold, who was 82, once told me something profound. I used to think aging meant giving things up, but now I realize it's about finding new ways to thrive. That's exactly what these anti-inflammatory foods offer: a chance to thrive, no matter your age. They remind us that we're not passive passengers on the journey of life. We're active participants with the power to shape our own destinies. Before we wrap up, I want to thank you for joining me on this exploration of anti-inflammatory foods and how they can help you feel younger, healthier, and more alive. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more content, and share it with someone who might benefit from hearing these ideas. Together, we can inspire ourselves and others to embrace aging with confidence, curiosity, and courage. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay nourished, and remember, food is more than fuel, it's a celebration of life. Here's to savoring every bite and living fully, one delicious meal at a time.